It seems universally understood that dating apps are the worst form of dating. In fact, I've never met anyone who has said, "Oh, I just love using dating apps." No, everything I hear seems to be along the lines of dating apps are terrible, and the younger generation has been cheated out of how dating was done before. Now, no one really mentions who is responsible for cheating them out of this preferred dating method of you meet someone in person, you have some conversation with them, and you find out what you have in common before initiating a romantic venture. But nonetheless, they have been cheated, and that old way of dating is gone. Or is it? We're the generation that embraced the dating apps. Is it possible for us now to ditch them? And if so, how? And what would dating look like going forward? I hope to answer all of that and more in today's video. Greetings and welcome to Community Centered, where we talk about what community is, why community matters, why you matter to community, and most importantly, how to start cultivating it wherever you are right now. I'm Ellie Whittekins, and it's easy to see why millennials and Gen Z embrace dating apps. You're talking about two generations that grew up online with 24/7 TV programming in the house and on video games. In fact, I remember growing up the messaging to parents being very concerned about keeping kids safe. You no longer had a parent at home while the other one was at work. Both parents were out of the house. And there were some pretty terrible things happening with kidnappings. So children were ordered by their parents to stay in the home, and they gravitated towards the entertainment that was available to them. As a result, we are a tech-savvy lot, and online is where we feel the most comfortable. Is it any wonder then that for dating, we gravitated towards an online format? And on paper, dating apps almost seem logical. You can filter out qualities that you don't want, and since everyone has to swipe that they're interested, you don't have to waste time trying to figure that out or constantly be rejected. But in reality, it is an algorithm designed to keep everyone searching, fake profiles, and awkwardness making conversation because it's easy to misunderstand people in a text format. And then there's also that one thing that is true of every online platform: people are a lot meaner when they aren't talking to you face to face. The result is a dating pool that is increasingly exhausted and disappointed. If dating apps are not the future, and I sincerely hope they're not, then what is? I've seen so many people wish to go back to the old way of dating. Some people have even tried it. And if you're single, you've probably had people tell you, "Oh, you need to go where you're going to find people with the same values as you. Try church." To those of you who aren't single, how it usually goes when one decides to follow this advice is they make an effort to go to church, but they take a look around and they see primarily couples and those of an older generation. They are not seeing potential romantic options. And because those options aren't there, they stop going. It's just not going to work the way that it did in the past. Or at least not the way we think it did. See, we think that people met their romantic partners directly. But that wasn't actually all that common. People tended to meet when they were introduced to each other. Take a look at this Pew Research report from 2006. 34% of people met through family and friends. Only 2% met at church. That is a big difference. And 34% is a huge chunk of the population. Now, obviously, that was before dating apps were common, or maybe even existed. But let's take a look at something a little more recent. This Pew Research report includes a survey with data collected in 2019. You'll notice that people meeting through friends and family is 32%, and people meeting at a place of worship is 5%. So, once again, people not necessarily meeting each other directly, but meeting each other through their greater connections in the community. If you haven't been living under a rock for the past decade, then you've heard plenty about the loneliness epidemic and the lonely generations. Young people today just have fewer connections than they did in past generations. And if 32 to 34% of people are meeting their spouses through connections, then these generations have greatly hindered their chances simply by being isolated. The question I asked was, can we, as a generation, ditch the dating apps? I think it's certainly possible. I think the reason it hasn't succeeded so far is because of two problems. One, we're looking to meet people directly. If we focused more on expanding our connections, we'd actually have a greater chance of succeeding. we'd be introduced to people, or they would know, hey, I know the single person over here, and I know the single person over here. Let's see if we can find a way for them to meet each other. The second reason I think it has failed is because not enough people are doing it at the same time. So if you remember my little story earlier about a single person who goes to church to find someone, there's actually a part 2 to that. So maybe 6 months or a year after that person stops attending church, another single person tries to follow this advice, and they look around, surprise, surprise, don't find anyone single there, and they also give up. But the truth is, there was someone single, they just weren't there at that particular time. I think the solution is to have a coordinated effort. So more of us are trying this at the exact same time, and we increase our odds of finding someone. Therefore, I am issuing a challenge. I issue a challenge to all my single Christians out there for this September. Go to church for all 4 Sunday services, go in person, and go and meet people. Go mingle in the lobby before and after. Talk to anyone and everyone, and let them know your story, and let them know that you are participating in this mingle challenge. And before you know it, you will have a network of friends who know you are single and looking. And maybe they talk to their friends and relatives, and they find a single person to introduce you to. Because let's face it, you have a greater chance of that happening than meeting someone directly at church. Can we ditch the dating apps? I think we can certainly try. What are your thoughts? Please leave them in the comments below, and join me here next time for How to Build Your Community, here and now.